we're going to start with items 10.2, 11.2, and 11.3. That's the amendment on the site at Goodyear Street and Pepitone Avenue, a rezoning and agreement with Launchpad Development Company for construction of a Rocketship Tamian Public School.
Good evening. My name is Janice Hubbs. This graph shows the average Rocketship test scores over the past few years. 2009, in the second year of testing the school, Matteo Schiti had a banner year, API of 925. This was unheard of among schools serving low-income students. The first kids chosen by lottery to end the first Rocketship school rocked the CSTs. Many thought this would be the magical solution we were hoping for to close the achievement gap. Critics wondered if this could be the result of a selection bias, meaning that some of the strongest families in the area had signed up for the dynamic new school when it was advertised. Next slide. 2010 and 11, years 2 and 3, showed some declines as schools and students were added, but they are still pretty solid numbers. Next slide. Then came 2012 and 13. The decline continued as more and more students and schools were added. The API entered the range of many school districts with similar demographics. Next slide. Originally, Rocketship schools looked like a solution to the achievement gap, but as they have attempted to replicate Matteo Schiti, you can see what has happened. So far, there is no indication that this trend will change. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rosa Valdez, and this slide shows the same data as the last presentation. Average Rocketship API scores over the last few years have dropped. It also shows their percentile when compared with other schools in California who serve predominantly low-income students. If this trend continues, by next year, Rocketship schools will enter the middle percentiles of schools with low-income demographics. That means they will have gone from phenomenal to average. If continues further, they will become below average within a few years, short years. When discussing API scores, Rocketship spokespeople compare their highest performing schools with San Jose Unified School District's 2 or 3 lowest performing schools. But as things are changing, they have to pick any and choose with schools they compare. Even now, Washington's API is higher than 2 of the Rocketship schools. There is no reason to build another Rocketship school in a neighborhood that does not need another elementary school at a time when scores are in a free fall.
This slide shows the academic performance index growth from 2012 to 2013 of several schools. Washington Elementary is in green, and each Rocketship school is shown in purple. As you can see, last year's Washington score increased while every single Rocketship school's score dropped. Some of the drops were quite large. I have taught elementary school for 26 years. When we see drops in scores like this, especially across multiple schools, this indicates a systematic problem. It can be fixed, but it requires a massive effort on the part of educators and administrators. It is not time for Rocketship to expand. This is the time to spend their time and money on improving the education of the students that they do have, so that their scores and their students will excel. Because this is what we all want for every single one of the students in our neighborhood to excel. Thank you.
John Danner is the founder of Rocketship. His new educational software company is called Zeal. Here is a screenshot of his blog. On Tuesday, July 23rd, 2013, he wrote minimum viable instruction. Let's look at those words for a second. Minimum, meaning the least. Viable, that will work, instruction. Allow me to read the first few sentences from that day's blog. At Zeal, we are pretty big believers in the lean startup approach. The fundamental thesis is that you are constantly doing just enough engineering work in order to understand what your customer needs by doing small experiments. Instead of spending several months designing the neatest and best game for student learning ever, you introduce small features, and then you add more. I interpret that to mean he is a big believer in doing the minimum amount and experiment on kids to see if the minimum is good enough. He goes on to say that engineering is a costly task for startups, and the minimum viable product is designed to not waste engineering time by really understanding what the customer needs.
Here is a clip from the Mercury News from January 31st of this year. It is about John Danner, the Rocketship educational founder. Danner's no-name company, later named Zeal, which besides himself includes 2 programmers in Bulgaria, will begin testing its first prototype next week at one of Rocketship's schools. I hope that Rocketship children are not being used as guinea pigs for unproven educational software to help John Danner build his new company. But if this were happening, who would look into it? Who is overseeing the current Rocketship schools? To whom could a parent go if she were concerned that her child was being used as a test subject? It seems to me that until these kinds of issues are resolved, there should be no more Rocketship expansion. The schools need more time and money to examine and repair these kinds of concerns. Thank you.
Many people in the community have concerns about Rocketship's student-to-teacher ratio. We have tried to figure out what it really is. On June 18th, at the Civic Center Council meeting, Rocketship said that the student-teacher ratio is 3 to 1 at most. But at a Rocketship board business meeting on July 23rd, Rocketship states that there is a 41 to 1 student-teacher ratio. They again claim a 41 student-to-teacher ratio at the Morgan Hill charter petition. Remember, if a nonprofit organization is trying to become financially solvent or is trying to redirect money for expansion, a high student-to-teacher ratio is a good thing. There were even notes elsewhere in the board materials talking about redesigned plans to move to a 50 to 1 student ratio. I teach at Washington. We are fortunate to have an average student-to-teacher ratio of 20 to 1. This allows me to really know my students. Building another Rocketship in our neighborhood makes no sense. Our community does not need any more elementary schools.
Sorry, your
Rather
time
than
is up.
expanding, Rocketship needs to spend their money in time working on improving communication with the community.
Good evening. My name is Anna Silva. This is a slide from a clip from the LA Times from October 4th, 2013. Let me read it to you. The founders of the San Fernando Valley Charter School were sentenced Friday for the misappropriation of more than $200,000 in public funds in the case that could affect charter schools statewide. The co-founder of Ivy Academia Charter School faces 4 years and 8 months in prison. His lawyer, Paul C. McKinney, filed an amicus brief in support of the charter school founders. Next slide, please. Paul C. McKinney is also the attorney for Rocketship. Here's something he wrote. The nonprofit operators of charter schools are private entities under contract with local school districts and are not the state, nor the county, nor the city, nor the town, nor a district, nor any other public agency of the state. Does he believe the charter schools can do whatever they want with their money? Does he think they should not have an oversight? Where is the accountability, I ask you? There should be no Rocketship expansion at this time. Before any expansion can occur, there must be legitimate third-party oversight in place to make sure federal and state funds are being properly spent at the schools already in existence.
Sorry, your time is up.
Thank you.
My name is Elizabeth Robledo, and I'm a citizen of San Jose. I think most of you are familiar with the Envision San Jose 2040, the general plan, and under education, the wise leaders of San Jose wanted to promote the operation of high-quality educational facilities throughout San Jose. This slide shows that California Department of Education recommends that an elementary school like the Tamian Rocketship would charter 700 students, should be on a 13.1 acreage lot. This is 9 times larger than the proposed Rocketship Tamian site, which is just 1.4 acres. Next slide, please. This shows the Washington site, Washington Elementary School campus. It is 6 acres. Here, there is plenty of room for playing soccer, tag, kickball, with the jungle gyms in the recess time. Washington students love to run. Washington also has indoor Zumba classes.
Good evening. This slide shows the size of the proposed Rocketship Elementary School superimposed on Washington's campus. Amazingly, their charter is for 200 more kids than attend Washington. How would they all fit? Clearly, this is not what was envisioned in the general plan. A former Rocketship employee who was the PE teacher revealed that part of the reason this job did not work out was that he was supposed to make sure the kids did not run, as this was dangerous. What kind of elementary school forbids running? I entreat you as leaders to vote against this school. There is no need for more elementary schools in our neighborhood. Let's follow what was envisioned in the general plan and build high-quality educational facilities. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Silvia Rendon, and I have a slide that I would like you to see. It shows a picture of that was actually drawn by a high school student who lives in the community. This is the Tamian and Washington community, and you can see 3 elementary schools within walking distance from each other. You have Washington Elementary on the right. On the top, you have Rocketship Mateo, and on the bottom, Alma. And you can see the proposed school, Rocketship, also within walking distance from each other. There are also 3 other schools, public schools, that are San Jose Unified Schools, that are within the perimeter just outside of these maps. They are Galarza, Lowell, and Gardner. So as you can see, there are already enough elementary schools in this community, and really what this community needs, and what I hear from the people who have already spoken, is a park or a middle school. Thank you.
The slide that you're seeing there shows that in Envision 2040, leaders thought about the importance of carefully selecting where new schools should be built. It says, cooperate with school districts in identifying and evaluating the impacts of population and demographic changes that may lead to the need for new schools, school closures, reopening of closed schools, or the decision that existing school sites should be preserved for meeting future needs. In the next slide, we can see that the number of kids in the Tamian and Washington communities from the census data over time, the red line shows the number of elementary school seats in the community. The green line shows the children that are ages 5 to 9 years old, and the blue line shows children who are under the age of 5. As you can see, the number of elementary school seats essentially equal the number of kids in the community until Rocketship Mateo Shiri was built. Then, when Rocketship Alma Academy was built, there were way more elementary school seats available than students to fill them. The general plan's idea of building schools where they are needed is a good one. There is absolutely no need in our neighborhood for another elementary school.
Sorry, your time is up.
Good evening. My name is Natalie Grazian, and I'm proud to be speaking on behalf of Washington Elementary tonight. The 2040 general plan says that leadership should ensure that community members have the opportunity to provide input on the design of public and private development within their community, and they should proactively engage in neighborhood groups in the decision-making process as a regular component of city government activities. This slide shows a recent meeting regarding the building of a Tamian rocket ship. All of the people in green shirts oppose the building of a Tamian rocket ship. Because it was held within walking distance of their homes and during the day, these residents were able to attend. Next slide, please. The general planning says the city should continue to work with neighborhoods on the planning and provision of city services and facilities to meet their specific needs. The Washington community has been clear. Our needs are parks and secondary schools, no more elementary schools. Next slide, please. This shows the Planning Commission's staff report, which states that the staff has acknowledged the neighborhood feedback. Our community has not been engaged in the decision-making process. It has been acknowledged, and then the city leaders have moved forward with whatever they wanted to do.
Sorry, your time is up.
Okay. When the
Angela
citizens speak
Bymaster
out,
is our
the
next.
council should listen.
Thank you. My name is Mario Coelho. The 2040 general plan states that new schools, including public and private schools, should be located near the population which they serve. This slide shows the traffic jam that occurs in Rocketship. Si se puede, twice a day. Every day at the school is in section. Why there are so many cars? Because people are driving their kids to school. When students live close to the schools where they're built, they walk. When they live near the school. Okay, near the students at Washington Elementary School walk to school. Only the rain days will some parents drive. But Rocketship has chosen to be a county charter instead of a local charter, so the students can come from anywhere within the county.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. This slide shows excerpts from handwritten letters from parents in the Washington community. They sent about 100 letters to the mayor's office last month, and I'm just going to read a few excerpts. We are currently having tremendous problems like traffic, as well as promoting and recruiting children from around Galarza and Washington schools. We want to avoid serious conflicts for the entire neighborhood. We want respect for the parents and children of these schools by the personnel of Rocketship. Next letter. I feel very sad that many of the parents from Rocketship charter schools verbally abuse and harass the parents from Washington Elementary School, saying that Washington students are academically below Rocketship students when I believe this is not true. The parents from Washington do not harass the parents of Rocketship. In my opinion, we all deserve respect. I do not appreciate that there are people at Rocketship who accuse the principal here at Washington of threatening me to stay at this school. I am not and do not feel threatened by anyone to continue to have my children well educated here. Each person should be able to have their children wherever they feel is best. And finally, one thing that bothers me is the fact that some Rocketship parents say non-true things about our school.
Sorry, your time is up.
Thank you so much.
Hi, thank you. This slide shows two graphs. For each one, Washington is in blue and Rocketship Mateo is in red. Both schools have the same number of students. First, look at the graph to the left. It shows the absolute number of staff members with college degrees. As you can see, there are significantly more staff at Washington with college degrees to serve the same number of children. Rocketship saves money by hiring fewer college-educated employees and using computers to do some of their teaching. The latest review suggests that the Rocketship kids are spending more time on the computers than learning from a teacher. Now look at the graph on the right. It shows the percentage of staff at both schools with a master's degree. As you can see, among college-educated staff, there are more master's degrees at Washington than Rocketship. All of the degrees at Washington are in teaching. The bachelor's and master's degrees at Rocketship are in various fields. Furthermore, 100% of Washington's teachers have teaching credentials, while many of the teachers at Rocketship do not have credentials. Next slide. This slide shows other non-teaching staff at Washington Elementary in blue compared with that at Rocketship in red. From the left, you can see that Washington has at least one part or full-time counselor, librarian, psychologist, nurse.
Sorry, your time is up.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Linda Raymer, and the slide, when it comes up, is going to show teacher retention and is going to compare Washington with Rocketship School. If a school had 100% retention, that would mean that all the teachers came back to teach again the next year. Traditional district schools have about a 90% retention. Rocketship, at the last notice that I had, was between 65 and 70%. Why is that? What makes it so hard to work at Rocketship that nearly half of the teachers leave each year? The statistics are concerning. And does that mean each year many Rocketship children are entering classrooms with new teachers? Any veteran teacher will tell you the first 1 to 3 years of teaching are learning years for the teacher. You start making much better progress in teaching your class when you've had some experience. Next slide. This slide shows the natural consequences of the previous slide. It shows the average number of years of teaching experience at Washington Elementary on the left compared with Rocketship Mateo Sheedy on the right. As you can see, Washington teachers have an average of 11 years of teaching experience.
Sorry, your time is up.
Thank you very much.
This slide discusses the fabled Rocketship waiting list. Sure. Whenever questions are raised about Rocketship, when we say we don't need another elementary school in our neighborhood, or when we question our sustainability of model, Rocketship lobbyists have the same response. But there are 2,500 people on the waiting list. We don't want to tell them that they can't come to Rocketship because we can't build another school. A lot of hinges on this legendary waiting list. This slide shows a screenshot from the recent EdgeSearch article about Rocketship from November 12, 2013. In the article, a Rocketship spokesman was quoted as saying that 978 families in Tamian are on Rocketship waiting list. Next slide. It is hard to find journalists who have the time to do fact-checking these days.
This slide shows 2010 census data in the Tamian Neighborhood Census Tract 5031.13. There are actually only 745 children between the ages 5 through 14. Of course, 14-year-olds would not be going to elementary schools, so that number is lower, maybe 570. Also, assuming
Sorry,
that...
your time is up.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Isabel Flanagan. Rocketship schools often claim amazing performance, and they do wonderful things. The children and the teachers work so hard. Here is a quote from Jessica Garcia-Kohl from November 6, 2013, from the Planning Commission meeting. Quote, "We are among the top 5% of schools in California serving predominantly low-income students, and that is true today," end of quote. The top 5%. That is an outstanding claim. Unfortunately, it is not accurate. This slide shows the August 7, 2013 board materials, which state that Rocketship students are in the top 25% when compared to other low-income students in California. 25th percentile is still very good, but is not the top 5%. Next slide. This slide shows each Rocketship school performance and the average performance of the schools as percentiles compared with predominantly socioeconomically disadvantaged elementary schools in California. Again, you can see they are doing a very good job, but none are in the top 5%, and the average is around the top 25% percentile when compared with schools with similar demographics in California. Although Rocketship school boasts good test scores.
Hello, my name is Maureen Hansen. The real issues here, I think, are solvency, whether this is going to stick around, whether there's really going to be a park. So let's talk about how they use their money. If you can see in this slide, the amount that is spent for facility fees with Rocketship is much higher in the beginning. Of course, this is building and that type of thing. But look how much more is also spent for management than the traditional schools. Next slide, please. Now here is also the employee compensation. And what this represents is the fact that they are hiring people and they're staying there a minimum amount of time. So traditional public schools that has more of those people with masters and people who stay are spending more money. But if we compare both of those things, we'll say, is this a good education for our children? And I certainly would go with the one that's spending more in the classroom. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jaleesa, a student from Santa Clara University. This slide shows concerns about Rocketship's solvency as a business, brought up by Morgan Hill Unified School District. These concerns are equally pertinent here in San Jose. I will read the concerns. The petitioners have presented an unrealistic financial and operational plan in the area of financial administration, including state revenue assumptions not based on LCFF and indicate deficiencies. Revenue projections include several grants without documentation and reasonable assurance of receipt. Insufficient funds allocated for classified staff salaries. Special education budget is unrealistic given history this program has funded costs. It is not clear how Rocketship Morgan Hill will receive a high level of management support given that Rocketship Education has an aggressive growth model. Management and facility fees are exorbitant. Fees generated by Rocketship Morgan Hill are not used locally to support school, but are used for other Rocketship education schools. Cash flow projections have a significant amount of errors and poor assumptions that materially affect the cash flow statements. Thank you very much.
I am Marilyn Azar Nakamoto, retired teacher from Washington. In this slide, we shows the newspaper from Milwaukee, Wisconsin Journal Sentinel. Why are we showing a newspaper article from so far away? Rocketship is a national organization. Economic problems in Wisconsin could spell trouble for our local schools since they are all owned by Rocketships, a private corporation. It is dated October 30, 2013. I'll read it to you. Under enrollment may bring 1.4 million loss for Rocketship Milwaukee. Based on projections made available for a Rocketship board meeting this week, Rocketship Southside Community Prep won't break even until 2016-17.
Sorry, your time is up.
I just
Your
want
time is
to
up.
ask
Thank you.
the money for
My name is Delphine Coelho, and this slide shows board materials from August 7th, 2013 meeting. As you can see, Rocketship is not yet financially sustainable. They discuss here that they must raise outside funds to build new facilities, pay for their national office in Redwood City, and have a safety net. They hope to become financially stable in 5 years, but they discuss the need to fundraise $15 million in the meantime. That is a lot of money. If there are 3 Rocketship schools in one neighborhood and the business ultimately fails, like if they can't raise the $15 million or if they never reach financial sustainability, then Washington neighborhood will bear the brunt of this risk. We will be the ones figuring out how to enroll students in district schools and scrambling to hire teachers for extra grades. And everyone knows how difficult it is for students to change schools. This model is not ready for aggressive expansion. They must figure out how to pay for the schools they already have. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rachel Zalkine. I'm a student at Santa Clara. And this slide highlights some democracy and solvency concerns. Rocketship has its own board, which are not elected. The County Board of Education granted the charter, and those members are elected by the entire county of Santa Clara, which is too large and distant to be as effective as a local school board. Here are some of the concerns. The unelected Rocketship board does not provide adequate community feedback in case a school would close. The joint use agreement makes this different than a normal charter or private school. Rocketship is a young organization heavily leveraged with aggressive growth plans. Are they sufficiently solvent for a 30-year joint use agreement? Is there contingency for a system-wide Rocketship failure? The high density of Rocketships in this community would make solvency requirements even more strict. If the national office decided to close a school, it could. It would not need to ask anyone. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Herrera, and this slide comes from the August 7, 2013 board materials. Is it there? During that meeting, the board talked about ELA and math proficiency rates falling for most schools in every grade level. They did not meet their own internal quality goals. In fact, they were 0 for 5 in their chart for existing schools. They asked themselves a really good question. Should they balance growth with the need to solidify instructional practices and academic systems? Yes, the answer is yes. Stop growing, solidify the instructional practices, solidify the academic systems. We want all of our neighborhood students and children well educated. Thank you.
My name is Becky Burnett. Have a slide? This is another slide, hopefully, from the August 7th Rocketship board meeting. They looked at teacher and staff retention. Their target was 80%, but they only had 71% in 2012-2013. They had wanted to keep 1/3 of the teachers who had left. They did exit interviews. Apparently, the majority of teachers who left did so partly due to the new instructional model, and others cited the demands and pace of the role. The Rocketship board is doing its due diligence. It is clear that the current educational model is unsustainable for teachers, as so many are leaving, saying they left because of the demands of the role. The current model is unsustainable for children as their test scores are dropping precipitously, and many mommies are coming forward with stories of their children crying and begging for school work to stop. The current model is financially unsustainable.
For vote, we have a motion on the floor made earlier by the Vice Mayor. On that motion, all in favor? Opposed? I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opposed. Motion fails on a 5-5 vote. We need 6 votes to pass a motion.